So KSI beats Logan Paul.
By split decision from the United Kingdom, the Nightmare.
That's my guy! Come on! KSI!
But despite this, at the end of the fight, Logan seems pretty chilled out. However, Jake, well, that's another story. Jake starts crying like as if it's like the end of the world or something. And obviously, if you probably remember, this became a meme. Everyone was like, I love how Jake is making this fight all about himself. But, you know, realistically, I think this fight actually really did anger Jake. Because after this, Jake immediately started gunning for JJ and he wanted to get blood. But JJ was sat there like, no, go away, you ducked me, piss off. If you want to fight me, you gotta fight Gib, my sparring partner. And if you beat Gib, I'll fight you. Because back then, realistically, Jake was not on the A side. It was Jake that was chasing down KSI because obviously he knew that would be a massive fight. But obviously nowadays, Jake isn't really chasing down KSI, it's kind of the other way round. But anyway, so the deal was made, Gib was going to fight Jake, and that's when Jake decided to do something which really changed him as a boxer. Sugar Shane Mosley knew who Jake Paul was, basically because his kids liked Jake's old content. And Shane was like, you know what, I'm going to train you, come to Big Bear, and I'm going to transform you as a boxer. And obviously Shane Mosley being one of the best boxers to ever live, he did just that. Jake was up in the mountains, literally training for months. Like, he was training as if he was having some sort of world title fight up at Big Bear. Whilst Gib was sticking with Vidal, because obviously Vidal seemed to have some sort of recipe training these YouTube boxers, as obviously KSI literally just beat Logan. And obviously KSI was probably the main reason why this fight was so hyped up, because KSI was saying, look, I've seen Gib train, he's sparred with me, he's gonna run through Jake. You literally had all of KSI's fan base and all of Gib's fan base, which is pretty much all of the UK, on Team Gib. Because basically KSI was saying that Jake, you know, he got lucky with Deji faded, but he's not going to be able to deal with Gib's just constant pressure. And obviously all of the fans that supported Gib and KSI, we all wanted Gib to avenge Deji, because at this point nobody liked Jake. But you know, here's the thing, Jake was off training like properly and Gib was training, so the whole build up for this fight was pretty slow at the beginning. But when things started to happen, like the press conferences, it really did become a bit more real and it really did spice it up a bit. And I think this is the part where people maybe was like, okay, maybe we're gonna doubt Gib a bit here, because when Jake and Gib had their face to face, Gib just wasn't all there. Like, he was spilling his water everywhere, like he just looked nervous. You know, you got to take into consideration that Gib was basically in America by himself. All he had was Vidal with him and obviously a small team. Jake was on his home turf, like he's comfortable because he's done all of this showman stuff. Gib has never done anything. Like, this was the biggest thing he ever did, as he was the headline of a fight. You got to respect Gib for even turning up. Like, imagine turning up to America where basically nobody knows who you are realistically. You're there with basically no supporters and you at the headline of a fight. Like, that's a lot of responsibility to put up a good performance. So all I can say is fair play to Gib, because I probably couldn't do that. No way. Alright, so let's just skip ahead to the fight night, because that's what we're really interested in. Hook just sends Gib straight down, which is the first knockdown. And here's the thing, I do really like Gib. I do. However, after rewatching this fight, there was no competition. Gib wasn't even close to Jake's level. I know that's going to annoy people, but please just go back and watch and you'll see that there was just no competition between these two. Because, you know, Gib's whole plan was to basically duck Jake's punches. But the problem was, you know, we all have our opinion on Jake Paul. Like, most people don't like him, but, you know, you have to give him credit on this fight, because obviously, you know, if he went from fighting Deji at an amateur level to then destroying Gib that easily, he knew about keeping the distance and he used his jab extremely well, and then obviously he knew how to throw the correct combos as soon as Gib left any part of his body open. You know, at the end of the day, the best way to summarize it is Gib looked like a YouTube boxer and Jake looked like somebody who'd been training for a couple of years. He was miles above Gib. And obviously we probably all know by now Gib gets the loss because of a 3 knockdown rule. And obviously, you know, Jake gets the win, but there's a reason why this fight is probably more important than you probably remember. So KSI sees Gib lose, and obviously you could tell from JJ's face that he is pissed off. At the end of the fight, you know, when Jake does his speech, he calls out KSI right in front of him. And obviously, this is the altercation between them two.
Yeah. Hey, I'm A-side. You're A-side.
And after that, this is essentially the start of the real KSI versus Jake Paul beef. And this is where all of us have wanted to see Jake fight KSI. Because JJ said that he would fight Jake. However, this was in January of 2020. And that's coming up to nearly 2 years ago now. So, you know, obviously Jake couldn't wait around for KSI forever. So what's happened? Jake carried on and he's knocked out 2 more people, which we will cover in maybe 1 video or 2 videos. It just depends. Then after I've covered them fights, we're done with Jake Paul for this series and we can talk about all the other fights. And then Tyron Woodley versus Jake is just around the corner. So we got a lot to talk about, guys. So I just want to say, if you are new to this channel and you enjoy this content, make sure you subscribe. And of course, if you really want to help me out, comment down below. Boxing gloves are made of spanners. What? Alright, I'll catch you in the next one, everyone. Peace!